Hey, I want to thank you guys for tuning in and checking out one more of my beautiful videos. Well, at least I think they're beautiful. And today's topic of communication, we're going to talk about basically the effects that parents have on their children, the pros and cons of the divided household. I'm pretty sure all you guys have seen the beautiful faces of babies when they're first born. The faces are so innocent, and then as that child progresses, he or she starts to develop personalities, and those personalities are due to the influences that, of course, that are around them. So they're picking these influences up and just absorbing them like sponges. And as these children grow up, both female and male, they grow up to be teenagers. They grow up to be, of course, adult men and adult women. The lack of parental guidance or the separated household will create a deficit in that child's life. Example, and I'll use both examples, both male and female. Female grows up in the household that's separated. Mom and dad is, of course, are not available. She grows up, there's a sense of misunderstanding on what it means to date or the functionality of dating or what she even is supposed to look for with dating a man. And that's simply because mom didn't choose a man. And I'm not saying he's not a man. I'm saying he's not a functioning man in that household, or he's not a functioning man when she chose that man to have a child with. So the female grows up with no real examples of what a father should look like or what a male should look like. And you see it in today's functionality of today's younger women. A lot of them that come up from broken households, they tend to choose the wrong man quite often, or they tend to think that they can actually fix the man if he's broken also. But the truth of it, ladies, you can't fix the man. And I'm simply still talking about the women, because most women that come from households that are severed or that are broken, they tend to try to fix the mates because they don't want the mate to replicate the same thing that their fathers did, which is basically leave them. So they tried their damnedest to please that man. They'll bend over backwards for this person to the point of almost abusing themselves to keep that man in the household. But in reality, you don't have to do that. You're just going through the processes in which you have no clue. So you continue to abuse yourself over and over and over again, trying to find a man that will stick and stay in your world. But yet, going back to the man that made you, he didn't know how to stick and stay either because your mother chose the wrong one. And the sad part about it is that if you don't talk to someone as a female to have an understanding of what you should look for, you'll continue to keep running into that wall, that brick wall, not an actual literal brick wall, but you'll keep making those poor decisions. And as a result of those poor decisions, you'll hurt yourself more and more and more and more. And the individuals out there that hear my voice, only you know how devastated you are due to the fact that your decision making is not the best as it relates to a man. And I fault your fathers for that because they did not have the characteristics to stick, stay, and make your mom a better woman. Now, fast forward to talk about the young men that grew up in the household. They come out, once again, beautiful babies. They grew up, influences once again. And the influences of a male, as we see, most males tend to hang around males that are just like them. And most males that have households that are together tend to not hang around guys that came from broken households because they're on two different journeys. And the journeys, how do I describe this? The best way that I can describe the journeys, the male that has a support system, and I'm going to tie this in to both male and female here shortly. The male that has the support system compared to the male that does not have a support system and his dad's not in his life. He's not encouraged. He's missing a lot of tools. I've seen guys sit in a car while females pump gas. I've seen guys that don't protect the women. You've seen multiple videos where guys are taking out their camera phones to record females that they fight. So they're no different than the females that are actually fighting. And I say that because they don't know their role in society. They're not protectors anymore. And I'm simply talking about the men, they're the young men that did not have the men in the household to show them this is what you should do to protect a woman. Because simply the man that made you as a young man, he didn't stick and stay. So you did not have examples either. So I've encountered young guys that didn't know how to check oil in a car or to check the PSI on a tire. For that matter, to even, change light bulbs and or change fixtures on the wall. And it's a beautiful thing when you have a male in your life and that's in the household, that's connected with your mom, together with your mom, saying we're going to stick, stay, and we're going to make this thing happen. Because one thing a lot of individuals that come from these broken households really don't see are the dynamics that parents go through when they're sticking and staying and actually making themselves better as individuals and as a whole. Because it's not going to be easy. There's no easy relationship, because the person that I am today, I wasn't this person many years ago. Even though I had my parents in the household, but the influences that I seen, especially being a brown male, were all destructive. So I followed that bouncing ball, even though I had two people in the household. So what we see as brown men are totally different than a lot of other races. And I followed that bouncing ball, but there was always something inside of me that didn't feel right. And as I continued to get older and older, I started to realize that my functionality was not appropriate. I didn't go as far as having children. I didn't go as far as doing anything violent. My destruction or my patterns of destruction were the hurting or mistreatment of women, because that's what I seen in my community. And I grew up middle class. I only understood how to mistreat women because that's the brainwashing that I seen. And I totally just discounted my parents and what they were doing. But I came back and I realized that there was something that I should have been doing all the time, which is basically connecting with my feelings, because we're taught not to connect with our feelings. And every time I dealt with a young lady, I mistreated her and I felt bad about it, but that feeling was pushed to the side and I found some enjoyment out of that. And a lot of young guys do the same thing, even the ones that come from households that have parents in them, because that force is so strong. So it's never too late to change. It's never too late to evolve. And that's another thing that I'm telling you as well. So think of this, both male and female, where you are right now does not have to be where you are tomorrow. Where you are tomorrow is totally dictated by what's inside of your mind. And if you see that you can be a better person, but first you have to know that you're not a person that connects with human beings. You have to know that you've hurt individuals on your journey of life. And that's one of the things that I had to realize, that I hurt so many people on my journey, even though I had the people in my household. But one thing that they did not do in my household is communicate efficiently about what it means to be in a relationship. Sure, I seen it, but to really understand it, I didn't see it. But the man that was inside of me and the woman that was inside of me, because they both had a role in making me, they stayed. My father came from a broken household. My mother came from a household where she had her mom and dad. So when I say this to you men, there's no excuse. You're doing what you want to do versus what you should be doing. And that's the weakness that you foster.